Hi, everybody. My name's Ruth Sternberg, and I am a career navigation coach working with job seekers to help them communicate their value to employers to get an interview and get the job. I've been spending some time with various professionals and job seekers to bring you some information that could be helpful to you in your job search. And today I am with Jim Levine, who has a staffing agency up in Northeast Ohio. Jim, you want to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company?
Sure. As we said, my name is Jim Levine. I am a franchisee for Express Employment Professionals in Mentor, Ohio. Express is an international staffing company. There are 880 locations worldwide, with about 750 of those in the United States. Each franchise is locally owned and operated, so you have an owner on site who takes care of the business and runs it on a day-to-day basis. And we really do the whole gamut of employment-related services and workforce solutions. We help job seekers find jobs, and we help companies find people. And we have a matching system that's proprietary to Express, where we understand the skills and experience required by the employers. We understand the skills and experience that the employees have, and then we match those up automatically in the system.
That sounds great. Now, the reason that I have asked Jim to speak with you today and with me is because working with a staffing agency is a good route very often to employment. And so I was hoping that Jim could explain a little bit about how it works when you work with a staffing agency. What specifically do you do, and how does one go about making that relationship and following through?
So I think there's really three different models of employment that we offer through a staffing agency, but from the associate perspective, there are really only two different models. So one model is what we call an evaluation to hire model, or sometimes just a temporary model. And in that scenario, the associate comes to us, they interview, they go through our process. We do skills evaluations, we check references, we do an interview, we get all of the things done that we need to get out of the way. And then we profile the associate and figure out which companies are going to need their skills, and then we present those people to the companies. In the temporary or evaluation to hire model, the associate works through Express, usually for 90 days, and then they are paid by Express. They're an Express employee, and in some cases, the idea is that they get hired in permanently to the company. In some cases, it might be a project-related position where they are hired on for 3 or 4 weeks, or sometimes 6 months, and the intention is never to hire them permanently into the company. So in both of those cases, the associate works through Express, is paid by Express, and is an employee of Express, basically on loan to another company. In the other model is a direct placement scenario where we interview, search for, recruit candidates based on an order from a company, and then we place the associate directly with the company. There's never any fee to the applicant. Everything that Express does is paid for by the client companies. So there's no fees to the associates whatsoever.
That's important to note.
Yeah, a lot of people think that when they come to an agency, they're going to have to pay a lot of fees to the agency in order to get placed, and that's generally not the case. Most agencies are paid by their clients.
So what kind of positions do you help place people into?
So we really run the whole gamut. It would be easier to tell you what we don't do, and every Express office is unique. So most of the unique qualities of an Express employment office have to do with the territory that they serve. So, for example, my office serves Lake County and Geauga County in Ohio. So we service all companies within Lake and Geauga County. The only thing that we do not do is hands-on medical. So if you're an RN or a surgeon or an X-ray technician, we don't do anything like that, just from a liability standpoint. And there are agencies that are specific to the medical industry. That said, some Express offices do medical. There is a special licensing process within Express. So there are some Express offices that do place nurses and X-ray technicians, but we don't do that. So about 65% of what my office does is semi-skilled and skilled labor to industry. Most of the employers in Lake and Geauga counties are in the manufacturing industry, but we also do office services, accounting, customer service positions, retail positions. So it's the whole gamut. So about the only thing we don't do is medical.
And it's important to note that although we're talking about a specific franchise, many other staffing agencies have similar models. So,
Yeah, exactly. And different
right.
agencies specialize in different things. There are some agencies that specialize just in entry-level industrial labor, and there are some companies that specialize in much higher end things like IT or engineering or accounting professionals. So, and what we do is we don't limit ourselves, but we have specific people within our office that handle the different things. So I have 2 light industrial recruiters, and I have a skilled trades recruiter. We have out of my wife's office, which is in Northeast Cuyahoga County, we have an office professionals recruiter. So we have specialties within the office, whereas some agencies only do one thing.
Okay, yeah, that makes total sense. Now, do you look for candidates? Are you on LinkedIn looking for people? I know
Yes.
a lot of
Yeah.
people who
So
call
we,
themselves recruiters, which is kind of almost the same thing, different terminology. They spend a lot of time trawling for people.
right. So we have 2 models. The answer is yes, we do that. We also do placement. So what we do is we recruit constantly for people that match the skill set that we place frequently. So in our office, machine operators, CNC machinists, assembly people, welders, things like that, we're constantly recruiting for, and we put them into our talent pool. And then that way, when a client calls and says, I need 5 people to start Monday in this area of expertise, we already have those people in the pool, so we don't have to first go out and look for them at that time. And we bring in about 40 people a week and interview 40 people a week to put into our talent pool, and then we're constantly placing them and then replacing them in the talent pool. On the other side is if a client calls us and says, I need a program manager as an example, or I need a third shift supervisor, and we don't have somebody like that in our pool, then we'll go out and do a search for that person. So we place ads on job boards, we network, we use LinkedIn, we use Indeed, we use Career Builder, but the main source of applicants for us is referrals. So most of our people that are in our system got referred to us by people that they know. They got placed somewhere, they had a good experience, and they send us their friends and family.
And I also want to say that I emphasize all the time to people who ask me and to my clients that working through people is the best way to get a job. Just right. Throwing your resume into a tracking system in a company is kind of like a slot machine. You're just hoping you're going to get found, right?
Right. Yeah. And I think, this is a relationship business. We are successful finding jobs for people because of the relationships that we have with the clients. So one thing that I would recommend is when you're looking for a job, first of all, using an agency or a recruiter is a great way to go because they're going to help present you to jobs that you're qualified for. What we see on the job boards all the time is people that take an app and they go click, 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 and they apply to 100 different jobs and they're not qualified for most of them. And what happens is the clients, especially companies that are using those services, get very frustrated because they're getting inundated by applicants who have no qualifications for the job. So if you are using a job board, I would really encourage you to read the job description, see if you have the basic requirements, see if you have the skill set, see if it's the kind of job that you want, see if it's the right shift, see if it's the right pay, because the worst thing you can do is get a reputation within a company. So if you see if you click on 10 jobs and you get a call from somebody that's interviewing you for a warehouse position, and you're not qualified for that position, but you are qualified for a customer service position, when they are looking for that customer service person, they're not going to call you because they wasted their time with you on the other thing. So it's important to make sure that you're applying only to jobs that you're qualified for. And the reason to use an agency is you might have skill sets that you're not thinking about when you're, or that you're don't help you match up to job openings, but they will help you with an agency because the agency has a relationship with the client company. We know what they're looking for. We know what type of person they're looking for. We know who's willing to take people and train them versus who wants somebody who already has the skills. So a lot of our clients take people from us because they trust our judgment, and we can get people jobs in a company that they wouldn't normally think about on their own because they don't match the hard skills, but a lot of clients are looking for the people skills more than the hard skills, and
Oh,
they'll
that's
train
great.
for the hard.
That's a really important point. And I think that that is a big shift that has occurred in
Yeah.
in the hiring world. You know, it used to be like, I can build this or measure this or do this, and now you have to be able to get along with people, you know, and get work
Oh,
done.
for sure. Yeah, and a
So
lot of my clients tell me much rather find somebody with the right attitude and train them than to find somebody who might have the skills but has bad attitude.
what should somebody put on their profile if they want to be found on LinkedIn?
Um, that's a great question. I think highlighting some of the soft skills that people are looking for is one of the things to do. And then obviously you want to highlight the hard skills that you do have. And what you want to do is kind of target yourself to the positions that are open. So if you go on Glassdoor or Indeed, you can see where most of the openings are. And then what you want to do is figure out what skills you have in your portfolio that match up with some of the skills people are looking for. The other thing that I think is to don't just be on LinkedIn. Find articles of interest that take things that areas of interest that you have, find articles about that, post them on LinkedIn, because then what's going to happen is people are going to find common interests, and they're searching not only for people, but people who have similar interests or have the skill set that match the thing that they're looking for. We've
That's great.
placed people into non-traditional roles all the time because they have a common interest with what the client is looking for, even though they might not have that specific hard skill.
Yeah, LinkedIn is kind of a misunderstood platform that way. I think people think of it as like it's been slowly, people have been slowly coming to understand it's not just a resume site. It's a place
Right,
for you to share your knowledge, your professional
right,
interests, etc., and then find commonalities with people, make connections, and then advance in your career, get things done. That's really, in a wider sense, what you're doing on LinkedIn. So if you're not participating in the conversation, then you probably won't get found. And so I think
right.
that's what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, to give you an example, my youngest child is just finishing college this semester and obviously not at college. So, one of the things that she's spending her time doing is writing articles about her area of expertise and posting them on LinkedIn so that employers who are surfing around on the internet are going to find her articles and then maybe reach out to her. And she's established bunches of relationships that way to help her find a job in her field when people start hiring again.
Yes, and I'm recording this during a time when we're all home quarantined,
Right.
and this is an excellent time to do that. Everyone's online, and so
Exactly.
you're probably going to get seen in ways that
Yeah.
you might not, otherwise. I also
Yep.
wanted to ask you, what are some of the hot jobs right now? Who's hiring? What
Well, the
industry?
medical industry obviously is very hot right now. Everybody's looking for nurses. But in Northeast Ohio, what we're seeing is a high demand for skilled trades, people with manufacturing knowledge, either welders or machinists in particular. Um, there's been a trend over the last 25, 30 years for public schools in particular to get away from vocational training. And there's a huge shortage in those areas right now, but those are very high paying jobs. And if you're the kind of person that is smart and can do math and measuring and has good hand skills, there's a lot of high paying jobs that are available in the advanced manufacturing industry. I would say mostly around computer numerical controlled systems, whether that be machining or, and machining can be metal, can be plastic, can be fiberglass, can be a bunch of different materials. That's an area that's in super high demand right now. And the other thing is, people with good computer skills are in very high demand, and that's something that you can work on at home. There's a lot of online courses that, and a lot of them are free right now, where you can brush up on Excel skills, Microsoft Office skills, typing skills, things like that, because those skill sets are needed for a lot of different types of jobs. And I think people who have good computer skills, who have good communication skills, are going to be in high demand all the time.
Yeah, I definitely say that if you are at home for a while, whether it's during a quarantine or just because you've been laid off, take advantage of these tools that are available to you. And I know that where I live, the library has a subscription to lynda.com, which is now owned by LinkedIn, and it's called something else. It's called LinkedIn Learning.
Mm-hmm.
And that if you have a library card, you have access for free to a lot of courses that are on that platform. So why not take advantage of it? It's great.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's others. There's Coursera has a bunch of courses now that are for free. And if you get registered with Express has a proprietary platform called Express Learn, which has courses in all kinds of Microsoft Office things, bookkeeping, accounting, customer service, safety. So there's a lot of opportunities there for free learning all over the place.
Yeah, that is very true about a lot of staffing agencies. And I think even some recruiting companies have courses that you can take as a job seeker to help. Because really, it's your job to find a really successful placement for this position that you're looking for. And so you're going to do everything you can to try to help the candidate too.
Right.
To try to,
And some positions are not pigeonholed, where, smaller companies especially need somebody that has diverse skills. So if you're a welder, but you also know Microsoft Excel and you can help with analyzing things, or you have shipping receiving skills, there's a lot of companies that are looking for people with a diverse skill set so that they can contribute to the company in different ways rather than just be pigeonholed in one slot.
Good point. And if you don't know, ask. That's the other thing I always say.
Right.
Curious about something, just ask the question. Would this fit? Does that work? How do you view me? Are there any gaps? What should I do?
Right.
I say having that conversation with somebody who is helping fill a position is a lot easier than with the hiring manager. Yeah. You're kind of one step removed, and you have somebody who can really answer your question without fear, exactly. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this has been a great conversation, Jim. Thank you so much for helping us understand more about this. Yes.
Yeah, and there's a lot of good recruiters out there. The best way to find out who's good and who isn't, look at their reviews online, and you'll find out who is really trying to help people. I think there are a lot of agencies out there that are very invested in their success of their associates, and they want to help their client companies. There are some agencies that are just trying to find warm bodies and throw them at people. But if you look at the reviews, you'll find out what kind of agency it is, and take the time to understand how they can help you. And my biggest advice to somebody working with an agency is treat the recruiter at the agency like they're an employer, because if they see you and they find value in you, they're going to work harder to place you. So if you're taking them seriously, they're going to take you seriously, and you'll be much more likely to find a job.
Oh, that's really great advice. Yes. So make sure that everything that you're sharing is relevant. Make sure you're qualified.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid about it. I mean, if you're not sure, ask, of course.
Right.
And also, when you were just telling me a little while ago before we started this that you've had people that you've placed in positions who, well, what were you telling me about people showing up? They weren't dressed professionally.
Oh
They
yeah, look,
weren't.
we'll get people in our office who don't think of us as an employer, even though we are likely going to be their employer. I've had people show up to interviews in pajamas. I've had people sit and text on their phone the whole time during the interview. I have people who don't understand why they should have to provide references. Best thing to do when you're working with an agency is show the agency that you can be professional, show up on time, dress appropriately, give your full attention to the recruiter, be present with them, and help them understand what it is that you're looking for and what you bring to the table. I think sometimes agencies get treated like the unemployment office, and that's not really where we're going to help people. Where we're going to help people is by taking the people who come in and present themselves appropriately, go through the process, kind of dot all the I's and cross all the T's, and help us make them presentable to the client. What we want to do is get all of the information about an associate and package that up in a really attractive looking package when we present them to a client, because there's competition out there, and right now there's much more competition than there
Oh,
was 3 or 4 weeks ago.
this is,
So
and this is,
you want to put yourself
yeah,
in the best light.
this is why I say, when you're starting out your search, you really should seek out professional help to put your marketing package together before
Yeah,
you even get
exactly.
to the recruiter,
Right.
right?
Yeah, make sure
Me
your
or somebody like
resume is,
me, right?
yeah, make sure your resume is buttoned up. Make sure that the language you're using speaks to what people are looking for, because what's going to happen is your resume is going to go a lot into big systems, applicant tracking systems, and things like that. If you put it on Indeed, if you put it in Career Builder, in order for you to get found, you need to have the right verbiage on your resume.
Thank you for that. And you will see in this post that I do have information about how to reach Jim and how to reach me. So, and I also want to encourage you who are watching to please at any time connect with me because I am always willing to talk to you. If you're, feeling a little bit down about your search, you don't know what to do next, please reach out to me.
Yeah.
Jim, have
And
a really great rest of your day. Thank you so
thanks.
much for doing this.
Sure.
And
Great to see you.
yeah,
And
it's good to talk to you and good luck placing everyone.
thanks.